in the front door to go in, or I will go round and lock the door.
I'm one of the councillors.
Okay, look.
See how the devil are.
Oh, mate, you.
Yeah.
Get yourself a chair, Richard, and go on and catch him here. Come over there.
Sorry.
Is there a chair? No, there's no chair. No chair. My friends.
Yeah, it's quite cosy, isn't it?
Especially mine.
Cosy, isn't it?
We've got 2 people filming. How lovely. Three people filming.
What about YouTube sensation?
All right.
You're going to be famous.
Well, that's nice to know. I've been famous before, but they won't pay me enough.
We've seen.
I'm afraid, yes, it's a good point that the meeting hasn't started.
Well, it's 7:30.
We're trying to actually open the front door for a disabled person, if you remember. We're just waiting for the return of the parish clerk.
Yes, we've done it. Everybody done it? Anybody needs to bury the sheep?
I actually have a question that I'd like to ask. Is it common practice that the local constabulary have a serving officer present at a public parish council meeting?
It's not common practice, but if I'm invited, we often come. It's not unusual. There's lots of them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So is this an actual part of your
My role,
duties as
yeah.
a serving
Just let the
constable?
Yes,
ladies
it is.
And are you actually here under oath?
Pardon?
Are you actually here at this meeting under your oath as a constable?
I don't exactly understand what you mean by under oath. Yes,
You actually should know the oath that you took when you decided to become a police
Sir,
constable.
I think we're holding this meeting off. If you want to speak to me afterwards, that's fine, but I'm not going to discuss it with you now. Okay?
Thank you very much, madam.
Okay.
I'll make a point, sir, that he's on the agenda for this lady.
There's a chair for you. Yes, is there anybody that's not put their name and
But it's 3.3.
details on there? Thank you. Mine,
Oh, do
please.
you want the details on the
Yes, please. Yes. The lady couldn't get a scoot to it because of the amount of people, so she's bought it's too small in here.
Everybody else needs to sign it. Okay, look.
Thank you very much for
That's
this
fine.
meeting.
They're like gold dust.
Yeah, that's fine.
Could you tell us where you're from, sir? That would be nice.
Is that a major issue for you?
No, we'd like to know who's here. We sent a piece of paper around asking.
Well, the common law, I'm a man named Mickey of the family Summers, and I'm actually a friend of Stephen here.
Right, so you're not actually from Marchington?
I'm here as a friend.
Thank you.
I'm here to support my friend.
You're not a Marchington resident.
Anybody
You're
else
not
want to
president.
sign it?
Is there any relevance?
All right.
Just ask me a question. Can you give a simple answer? You're not a Marchington resident.
I'm here to support a friend.
Not a Marchington resident.
Not a Marchington.
I'm not a Marchington resident either, just so as you know.
It's a public meeting, sir.
Oh, excellent. I thought that might be an issue.
Thank you. Or not, the gentleman who's speaking so clearly is actually lives here.
Do you actually have anything that you want to hide from outsiders? Because the way you're asking those kind of questions leads me to think that you have some kind of village secrets. Would you like to answer my question, sir?
Can I call this meeting to order, please, and we'll start it.
Actually, I would like
Excuse me, this is a meeting, it's a public meeting. This is being held by the parish council. It is the chairman and the clerk, and at the end of the day, you are here to observe the machinations of this parish council.
And your colleague there, sir, asked me a question, and I responded, and I require him to give me a response. Do you have an issue with people from outside of your clique or your parish being present?
Of course not. I was just trying to determine your desire to have know the knowledge of whether there was a disabled entrance. That's all.
The
For future
disabled
use.
entrance actually was for myself.
Sorry.
The disabled entrance was required for myself.
Jolly good.
Thank you.
And we dealt with that, I hope.
Well, yes, but I'm just pointing out and explaining why you wanted to know that.
Well, yes, well, I've given an answer.
Yeah, I just thought as you bring that up as an issue, I'd explain why it actually wasn't asking just to be.
It just comes across like an issue with people from the outside invading on your little clique.
You seem to be a friend of the gentleman who's beside you. That's all I wanted to say.
No, I'm not offended at all, sir.
Pardon?
I'm not offended at all.
Mixed words, just...
Have you got a little gaggle that they
Can we get on with this meeting, please, if that's
Yeah, come
okay
on.
with everybody? We're going to do a presentation by Ben Williscroft. Have I got that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Ben Williscroft, who works for the ESBC, and his job is conservation of village areas, although not always villages, of course, but most of them. And I'd like you to start. You are, in fact, offering a sort of presentation which is rather... Now, I understand that PC Shepherd, Josie, is it?
That's me.
We haven't met, I'm afraid.
No, that's why I'm here.
But you're down here to tell us if you've got any problem in the neighbourhood or...
Yeah, well, really, I've come along this evening. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Just to sort of introduce myself to the
You
Parish
always
Council,
come,
anybody
please.
who's here. My name's PC Shepherd, and I'm an area officer. Marchington is one of the areas I cover. I came into covering this area in about June. Now, a lot of you may be more familiar with PC Bolter,
Yes.
who's covered this area for quite a long time, so I'm working alongside him now. And I've just come here this evening really to introduce myself, to pick up if there was any problems from the Parish Council themselves or anything they wanted me to take away. I've worked out of Uttoxeter for about 23 years, so I'm very
You've never seen
familiar. Never seen me, can't believe it. I actually have been working very much one of the urban areas around the town centre itself for probably about 10 years. So I've had a very small patch with lots of people living on it. And they've sent me out to the fields. It's a lot more beautiful. So if anybody, I just want you to know that I'll try and attend when I can. Obviously, the invite has been open to me. Yeah.
Okay.
If there is anything you want to relay to me, the clerk has emailed me, we've already done that. If anybody else would like to get in touch with me, I'm available on email. I'll leave a little pile of my cards here for anybody to take. I don't intend taking questions from anyone now because I don't want to hijack the Parish Council meeting, and that can sometimes happen with police officer. Also, unfortunately, I have got another appointment to make over at Burton. So if there is anything from the Parish Council that you feel I should know about before I shoot off, please feel free.
I don't know whether Councillor Roberts wants to raise something.
Is she still carrying
Sorry.
on every about monthly or 2 monthly, you have a meeting within the village, or are you proposing to still carry on doing that?
We are. They're held at the Marchington shop, weren't they? Sarah, your PCSO, who was the previous PCSO, used to hold them at Marchington shop, I believe. I'm hoping to get those up and running now we're into the new year. So if you just leave that with me, those kind of meetings I'll try and publicise in the shop itself, in the newspaper, and they'll also be on the website, Staffordshire Police website. And if you look for me on there, those meetings will be aligned to myself and PC Bolter. I don't know if you're aware, you've also got 2 PCSOs who are covering the area with myself and Rich now. That's PCSO Leslie Hardware and Zoe Evans. So there's 4 of us in all covering the area. But it's quite extensive. We are sort of doing Barton, Hanbury, Abbots Bromley, Draycott, and over towards Kingston. So it is quite extensive, and Newborough, or Cross. But there is more of us now, so we should manage it quite well. Anything else before I shoot off?
Unless anybody has any strict, very limited questions, I don't think so. Or am I speaking too ahead?
Yeah. No, I'll leave these here then.
Yes, that'd be great.
And do feel free to take one, anybody, and you can email me or telephone me. That'd be great. Okay, nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much.
Bye for now.
Appreciate it.
Oh, sorry.
As I say, I'm not forward.
That's great. Right. Now, we have a report, I think, from Mr. Heatley about flooding, or rather lack of it at the moment, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Yeah, I'm sure he's
down there and he's about 3 now, away from the car.
Parking near those facilities, they're now having to make a phone call, have a carer with them to be able to go and retrieve the key or go and find a key holder.
They've got to have good vision to use the phone if they don't have that.
That is discrimination because...
But we've gone down that route, I'm afraid.
Yes, we have, and Mr. Atherton agreed that the access is now worse for those user groups than it was before, and that makes the situation worse, and that is discrimination. For £220, we can secure that height barrier, which will prevent travellers getting on, and we drop the bollard in the morning, and there are enough people in the lane that are happy enough to drop the bollard in the mornings and lift it in the evenings, which would enable people with disabilities to be able to have access at any time.
Seems a small price to pay that £220.
£220, and allow myself and other people
this
in the lane.
conversation for 3 council
Yes.
meetings.
So this is the fourth council meeting.
This is the 4th time that you've said exactly the same thing.
Well, if you listen to him then.
The matter hasn't been resolved by the sound of it in the last 3 meetings.
And the time
We have one person speaking.
Yeah, but you could just remove the bollard. Sorry, but I don't understand.
Excuse me,
why you
I'll allow you to
cannot
speak if you're actually asked to speak.
Oh, sorry, all right.
Oh,
Okay.
May I
So
interject?
you
It's not
have
in
to
school.
remove the bollard.
Ladies first.
Can I just explain the protocols of Parish Council?
No, I don't want to listen to that, sorry.
Well, excuse me, this is not this meeting is to view, I'm just trying to be helpful. This meeting is to view the machinations of the Parish Council.
How are you being helpful then?
Let me
I'd like this being helpful. At the end
But
of the
maybe I
day,
don't understand what you're saying.
the Parish Council meeting is open to the members of the public. As you can video it, the act that brought it in was for members of the public. At one time, all Parish Council meetings, up until Margaret Thatcher,
Wow.
were held in private. The idea was that people could come in and watch the Parish Council.
Maybe
at
they
work.
didn't used to put bollards in
Look,
our cars.
excuse me. Well, it's pointless trying to explain it to you if you're not.
Good,
if
that's
you're
what I told you.
I'd like to pick up on that if I may be allowed to speak just briefly.
Can I just say,
briefly.
if Brian is, we're quite willing to, well, they are, I'm not Parish Council, I'm a Borough Council, I'm just trying to be helpful.
Okay.
If Brian indicates as the chairman that you can speak,
Acting
then
chairman.
you speak.
Well, I'm hoping I might be able to just interject 2 points.
Just a second, who are you, please?
I'm about to purchase a property in this area, although I'm actually having second thoughts now. But I'll explain that more in a minute.
Can I have your name? That's all.
Joe.
Joe.
Joe Public. And it is my name. It is my name.
Is he obliged to give you his name?
Doesn't matter, I'm happy to give my name. But there's just 2 points that I'd like to raise. The first is, I heard you say, when this gentleman said, you know, we've had this discussion 3 meetings in a row, you quite clearly said you're bored with it. Well, that's irrelevant. It's an issue that needs to... But to say that you're bored with it is very, very condescending. You did say that, didn't you? You did say that. But I want to move away from that. First of all, I think it's very rude that you say that you're bored with the fact that this man has an issue with the bollards. But second of all, I'd like to just bring up this point, which this gentleman here from the borough said that, you know, this is how council meetings work. You know, we don't get to speak unless we're invited to. A parish council meeting should consist of a chairman. You're not the chairman. You're an acting chairman.
True.
So, am I not right in thinking that a parish council should consist of a chairman and parish councillors and shall have all such functions as are vested in the council and by the Act and otherwise? So if you're not a chairman, this is not a parish council meeting.
He's the acting chairman.
He's acting, but
in the step of
the
the
Local
chairman.
Government Act, sir, the Local Government Act 1972 says you must have a chairman. Now, again, this is by the by. If you want to make an argument over the legalities, then you can. But the fact is, you did say to this gentleman, and we're very bored with it. We're bored now. Well, we all get very bored. We all get very bored.
How rude.
With subjects that go round in circles, but it doesn't solve the problem by just going, well, we're not going to address it.
You could offer
So-
to move the playground
There
or
are-
the
there are
picnic, build a
options.
new picnic area.
There are
with
options.
mobility.
Excuse me.
There are people in this room who don't have permission to photograph.
Actually, you do now. You do now. What I'm trying to get at is there's obviously in the minutes of your meeting there's quite a lengthy bit about these bollards. Yeah. So really, when you're talking disabled access, first of all, I know that there are 5 or 6 people with keys.
Yeah, but you can get a solicitor.
Are the
if it's
5 or
against
6
the law, but-
telephone numbers listed? Is there a rota in place for someone to be on duty at all times?
Almost been spat
These
out,
are
half of
very
them's gone.
pertinent questions to someone less able than yourself. There are disabled people here. You should be accommodating them. So.
Cheerio.
Coming out for a day on my own, I wouldn't be able to.
Excuse me, we both put our hands up quite a while wishing to speak. You haven't.
I think that's fair enough. Please.
Permission to speak, did you?
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do.
I do not need permission.
Yes, you do.
In your opinion, you may think so, but I do
No,
not
no,
need
that's
permission
in
to
there.
speak.
Chairman of
First
this
and
meeting.
foremost,
The
Can I try and ask you to speak, please?
first and foremost,
He's not, he's an acting chair.
I am a resident of the village,
Okay.
not a long-standing one, nearly 4 years. But I have seen some changes in the village over that 4 years. I don't belong to a clique, and I do not have a hidden agenda. Let me make that clear. However, I am aware that council meetings can be filmed and whatever. And that's the law. The act was brought in, and I've checked it out. However, I feel uncomfortable speaking with all these cameras. And I too have my rights.
Indeed you do, and they should be asking if they can actually do that.
And yes, exactly so. However, under Article 8 of the Human Rights Act, I have a right to privacy. And I don't...
Not in public. You're in public, love.
In public, yes I
You're in
do.
public, love.
Yes. In Article 8, I have a right to my privacy. As an individual...
It's your responsibility to make yourself private then.
No,
You wear a mask or something.
You have to have permission to have our... Now, I'm not a specialist in European law. You are correct. My specialism is disability relief.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, can we get something sorted for these balance?
But the point I would like to make tonight is that the volume of traffic going in and out of the village has increased dramatically. I go out in the mornings, if I'm out early, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I follow prison officers coming through the village and going into the prison. Some of them have music blaring, and on my return home, if I come in from the A50 and through Drayport, I often come along that road and I see prison officers coming out with 2 or 3 in a car and turning right and going through the village. So I would like for you and your body to please ask questions of both the police and the governor of the prison.
I should explain that there was a voucher system set up in which would allow a certain amount of...
I'm aware of it.
Oh, you are?
I have done my
However,
homework.
this is limited to a number of cars, as you can imagine.
It is.
The advice... Yes, please.
The pre-government, there is 60% of the officers come from Derby. They get a grant for having more than one person in the car. Now what if somebody's been released and they decide to come out of prison?
No, that's not my point. I'm not talking about prisoners who are released. I am talking about prison officers who come out of the car park and turn right, which is their
shifts, the time of the shifts are such that 8 in the morning, there's no, and 2 in the afternoon. Those are the only 2 times at night time. Right, so what he's done is staggered these, so you have lesser traffic over a period of time.
I understand
He's
that.
completely aware because this matter was raised again and again and again. You would come along and raise it again. He's very, very accommodating.
I actually raised it with him when I was in prison visiting.
Yes. So
He's a very
he's
approachable chap.
He is very approachable.
However, the parish council are here for a reason. And I'm a resident, and I would like my concerns to be passed on to the appropriate body.
We can do that, I think.
What we do ask people is that if you do see them and you are in the position to give us their registration numbers and the time and the day, then we can then report it to ESBC enforcement as well as the prison, and they will take the matter up on our behalf. So if you are in a position to take the registration numbers, the time and the day, and pass them on to me as the parish clerk, then we can do something about it.
It also applies to the prisoner's home as well.
Yes, the prisoner's home.
No, I haven't. I honestly haven't seen that happen.
Would you anticipate? Can I just say that I have seen a prison plan come through, and I did take it on my own back to phone up. And since that time, I've not seen it. Well, so they do respond, which is fine.
There is a traffic scheme that was set up at the beginning, wasn't there? And ESBC can enforce that if necessary. So you can, if you could, or anyone, if you.
Yeah, I will.
The more information we can give you, the more good.
Of course.
Is that your main points?
That's my main point.
Do you wish to proceed any further? Or?
No, I'd like to thank the people who have turned off their cameras. Apart from it having an effect on my privacy, it's
We're not filming you, love.
not questionable.
Well,
Madam, would you like to stand up and just... I'm sorry.
Welcome. Can I also ask that the cameras are turned off because I'm a reader on.
we're not filming you, love.
Yes, I can ask for the cameras to be turned off.
Yes, that's privacy. It's your families around you.
Let's
You're
put it
in
like this. Let me give you the reason.
How is
I
that
don't
privacy?
subscribe to
I can't have
Facebook or
privacy in here
YouTube.
If you walk out in the streets, you're getting filmed by CCTV anyway. So can you request for them to not film you?
That's my privacy, and I'm requesting.
Nobody's filming.
Nobody's got nobody's
But it's not on the council agenda, is it?
Excuse me, could we address the chair?
Is there a chair? I'm under the impression he's an acting chair.
That's getting interesting.
Comments about the amount of traffic, it has increased considerably in the last 12 months. Since we've had the chicane, that's almost made the problem worse. People come down Hound Hill so fast that they're on the wrong side of the road so they can get around. I've had to mount the verge twice to avoid a bad accident. It comes round the bend near me and twice has just nearly missed hitting a car parked opposite our gate. Is there any way we could perhaps have a mobile, your speed is for a short time or something, just see if that slows people down, anything like that? There's an accident waiting to happen in the village at the moment.
I think that's a Staffordshire Council thing, though, is it not? Staffordshire Highways? Staffordshire Highways. Yes, we can do.
Right, thank you. You know, I think this is all relevant to any future planning applications as well, the volume of traffic. I think you'll agree with me, won't you, Tony? Our end of the village is horrendous now.
Yeah, I have gone in that direction towards the prison, and some of the people do come down, considering it's a terribly narrow little road.
Yes, quite.
Too quick, and of course there's no way for them to stop.
And there's no way they can stop.
That's right.
They're just driving too fast.
They're also too sort of blind.
What, is there no way there can be a speed restriction all the way down from Hound Hill?
We have tried it, and
It's a 40 mile an hour,
Yeah.
There's no, as you come to 6 lane lanes from Burton, and there's yellow lines across the road.
It's only a certain group, that though. It's only a certain group, yeah.
to have the white line.
That's right, yeah.
So it battles the car as you go.
Yeah. I think that's a bit unfair other people live in there because it's such an enclosed area just there, isn't it?
It was just some way to
But I think, you know, personally, when I'm driving, if I drive through one of those, you are driving, your speed is, it does have that shock system, so even if you do that as a temporary measure sometimes.
Well, try and ask us some suggestions for slow traffic down, coming down Hounds Hill. I think that's what you're after.
Thank you very much.
Mrs. Milling, one second.
Mr. Chair, I'll have to, excuse me.
When this prison first came to the village,
Unbelievable.
the top ones
Here we go, well, just for the kind of Marchington Muppets.
would not be allowed to travel through the village.
Well,
has that been changed? Has it been rescinded or?
Good to see with the tin stuff, thank you.
That was a definite thing, that they assured the village that traffic wouldn't come through. And if my memory serves me right, it's a long time since I've been on the bus to Burton, the bus goes into the prison, and I think when it comes out again, there's an all-right turn, which means that they're going against the traffic sign.
Just to give you there's a Section 106 agreement and there was a green travel plan.
Yeah.
But basically the green travel plan is up to the prison to encourage and get people to their elements of it that are directly enforceable suppliers, and the prison ban should follow that route. But then when you go down to the individual with regards to cars, if they pay the car tax, then in real terms they can travel on the public highway. So therefore it's a question of the prison writing into their own rules and enforcing that. I mean that's basically how it works.
you have a question, Sam?
Yeah. Is the parish council aware of what's called a speed watch campaign run by police, normally parish councillors?
You're referring to where council...
Anywhere in the village that you might have concerns about speeding drivers?
The trouble is that the particular road that that lady was talking about is the fact that it's narrow, it's coming down, and it is a 40-mile-an-hour limit. Crazy as it seems, because if you went up and down it, you'd see that it, you know, to be honest, it's not easy to go up there slowly, never mind come down fast, but they do. And I think it's because the road starts off from the prison is extremely wide and narrow, and then goes down and round a dip. So that's the problem. So it's in a 40-mile limit, and we've tried to alter it to 30. But yes, I mean we could try that perhaps.
So are they driving in excess of 40 mile an hour, do you think?
Sorry?
Are the people driving in excess of 40 mile an hour, or is it just because if they drove at 30 or 25,
well, if they drove down
the problem would still be there?
It would help, to be honest, but they don't. They didn't ride. It's falling ground, very fast falling ground. So the thing.
No excuse.
And I think
Car's got gears.
I don't know why it is, but if you go down to Devon or Cornwall, there are only people on the road. They're very narrow roads, and it can be quite dangerous down there. But
right, we're not in Cornwall.
You know, the thing is, no, of course not. But I'm just making the point that you know, country roads, you need a bit of caution. So, just a minute.
Mr. Chairman, I thought it may be an appropriate time just to raise the point with the A50 being realigned in Toxteth and the flyovers. It's highly likely that as when there's any hold-ups, crashes on the A50, HGVs come through the village. Can the county highways be approached to ask for appropriate signs to stop HGVs coming through the village?
As I understand it, there's a limit on weight through.
Yeah, but once they're at the D&T, then they can't go back, can they? They need to be stopped before.
5017.
So you would like to see proposing?
I would like to ask
notices
that the county council provide some ways and means of preventing, prohibiting HGVs from coming through the village, using it as a shortcut, which is what they do.
Okay, well there's actually a stop.
You know, if there's a hold-up, then they'll come down a 515 and then
I think they're breaking the law actually to come over the bridge, aren't they? Isn't there a weight limit on that?
There is.
Yeah. Shock horror.
Thank you.
Sorry, Robert,
Brian, I think the parish did write in my capacity as a councillor, following the unfortunate incident on where all the traffic was diverted back into Toxica. Part of that is insurance, because there was, I think I read in the regular Parish Council minutes, that the intended route for when they were going to work on, not Part A, but the Part B section, was that when work went on over the weekend, the traffic might be diverted along the B5017. And my view was that they should seek a solution to keep the traffic on the A50. And I've been assured that that is what they're going to do. As a flip on that, I did say, look, you know, when you are putting a diversion in order, and I mean, I think everybody here accepts that if there's a major incident on the A50, then, you know, unfortunately, 5017 is the road that can be used. But I did request that they considered, when they put out the signage, to actually put some extra signage on the roads. Now, I haven't had a direct response back there, but they are looking into that, and I'll follow that up again.
Thank you. Perhaps you could bring that point over to our county councillor. Corrections, I think.
Last time when the diversion took place, a lot of the traffic was coming down Woolsey Lane, so they didn't get stuck at the roundabout. But they got because they had precedents. So there was very long tailbacks in Woolsey Lane, and backwards and forwards, I think that lane.
It is.
Lorries coming up both ways, and backwards and forwards turning around.
Yeah, it's really large lines when you got stuck on the corner
of
Station Road.
Was there a request on next step?
I think a lot of these is to do with sat nav.
No, most of the lorries were doing it to avoid getting stuck in the
No, but they can't be to the sat nav.
I live in Western Lane, no, it doesn't take that way.
Because if they say one road is short, then that's sat nav will look for
No,
another.
it takes to two roads. Never took to Western Road. Never does. No, I haven't time to ask.
You wish to speak, sir?
Just one more time, so I just want to hopefully get a comment from you at the end, and then that'll be the end of it. As I've made clear, I'm looking to buy a property in this area, and I'm looking at two already. Now, my mother had a stroke 3 years ago, and she's quite severely disabled. Now, I've been down to that playing field, and like my friend here, I can't get a signal on my phone. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is because if I take my mother to that park and I can't get a signal on my phone, how do I get my mother down through there?
Well, we could possibly take a proposal from you. What do you think we should
Well, actually, I would defer the option to give you a proposal to this gentleman here, because he knows an awful lot more about it than I do. I am new to the area, there's no lie there. But I do have concerns that there is discrimination against disabled, whether it's willingly or unwillingly, simply because there is a dead spot down there for mobile phones. And when you have disabled access, you either must implement a rota that is adhered to, so when someone does manage to phone, if they can get a phone signal, someone will come and lower the barrier. However, that's not the best solution, because there does seem to be a bit of a dead spot for mobile phones down there. Is it something that the council will now recognise this gentleman's issue, and rather than be bored with it, address it over the next couple of weeks?
What I was trying to say there was we discussed this in such a lengthy way. We've had, this is the 4th meeting it's been coming up to council. We've had how many meetings is it down at Silver Lane?
It's clearly still an issue then, isn't it? The key getting brought up.
We've been down there and we discussed it with from a disabled point of view, a representative from the Borough Council, who said that in his view all we could do is ask whether other people felt the same way.
Could they not be replaced with fob? You know, the electronic drop-down ones, so that there is a way to...
You'd still need a fob though, that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm clutching at straws, because obviously I don't know the answer, but I would expect the local council to look for one.
Perhaps it would be a good idea to put up the addresses where people could get the key from.
I think so, yes.
Could people request a key? Sorry.
Or, yeah, regular frequenting visitors maybe be given a key once they are established in the community.
No, that would defeat the object, I think.
Well, they wouldn't let...
Well, I can't deduce what would happen if you gave out too many keys.
But you will recognise that it is an issue and does need to be looked at. It's not something that can just be, oh well, you know, we'll leave it, because I am moving here with my mother, and I do have disabled issues, and this is something I have been looking at. That's why I've specifically come to this meeting tonight, because I want to see how proactive you guys are in dealing with it. If any of you had your abilities taken away from you, I'm quite sure the boot would be on the other foot and you'd be working furiously to fix the problem.
Your telephone. I have no problem using my telephone down there, so change your telephone.
Well, don't be so stupid. What a stupid answer that is.
What service are you on, sir? O2.
Everybody changed to O2.
Everybody changed to O2.
That's solved, problem solved.
Problem solved.
Change your phone.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I am changing anyway because they're rubbish.
Sorry? When we met, Councillor Nixon and I, the local access officer confirmed that access is now worse for certain user groups, and he recommended that we contact Parish Council use of local user groups and the emergency services to use. And as far as I know, what you've done is put in the parish magazine requests for people to make comments. Have you proactively contacted any disabled user groups? And the
good question.
Well, the point is excuse me, these playing fields, or rather playgrounds, are primarily for the residents of the village, and they're not.
And for any public access areas.
Public land, isn't it?
Please don't shout out. It's not necessary. Put your hand up, I'll let you speak. Easy.
They are public access areas.
Excuse me, sorry, could I just make a suggestion then? As Mr Langston said, why don't we draw this particular conversation to a close so we can move things on? And in the meantime, as a parish council, you can now go and speak to all the different access groups or anyone else that you may want to put forward in an email to the clerk.
Yes, I can do that.
Exactly, and then you can contact people, and maybe not next meeting, but maybe the meeting after.
Thank you.
To give people proper time to respond, so at least then we can stop talking about this.
I think that's a very sensible solution. Very sensible. Very sensible.
What's your name and address put up on some notice?
On the front of the building and in the parish magazine.
Did you approve that? Did
No,
you give
no,
permission for
no.
that? So when we've got other people in here that wish to talk about their privacy and their right to anonymity, there's a letter that you've had sent, they wanted to remain anonymous, which is their right. Did anybody have the respect of this gentleman here to not publish his home address and his name?
That's pretty low, man.
Yeah.
Pretty low.
It's data, there are such things as data protection. This is putting his name up without his permission, not even the decency or courtesy to ask if you had his permission. Can you explain that?
Yeah, how would you like to respond, sir?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
You won't? Well, it says it all, doesn't
It's
it?
because you cannot give a response to something that was a dreadful thing to do.
There we are, that's in there.
I'm sorry, I'm closing this discussion now.
Why? Because it's got difficult,
Why?
isn't
Because
it?
you don't like the answer.
I'd like to make a motion, then if you don't want to discuss the issue, then I would invite you to abandon the meeting.
I don't think we wish to do that.
Then answer
So
that.
address the issue, sir.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
I'm the chairman to try to control.
No, you're acting chairman.
You're a facilitator, sir. You, as a chairman, you facilitate the meeting. You do not order people, right? Address the issue.
Yeah, I think all we're asking for is an explanation why you published this man's details. Was it to humiliate him?
Excuse me.
Who are you, Captain Birdseye? Answer the question.
Excuse me, can we have some silence, please?
No.
Show the man some respect and answer the question.
Carry on,
I wasn't
speaking
to do
to you
that,
either.
just so we can get on with the meeting. We'd
Don't
like to
keep
go
your
to
nose
bed.
out.
I'd like to carry the meeting on.
And I didn't quite understand the
I was having a
argument.
conversation, but you weren't
How many
involved in it.
discussions have we had in here?
Well, quite a few at the moment, but the moment you explained to us why you published this man's details, his telephone number, his address, his name and his photo on the front of the village hall, then we can move forward. But you don't want to answer that question because it's an awkward question.
To using your name?
Sorry?
Are you objecting to using your name?
I'd like to have a discussion with you at some stage about the repulsive article that you published in the magazine. On the front, my article was not at all personal. You, as a group of councillors...
No, you can't just leave it. He's got a valid right to speak and ask a question.
Steve, we've had a number of discussions and we've been as far as
I do want to discuss this with you.
Yes, fine. And I think that's a good idea. And as far as I'm concerned, our conversations have been very, very calm and very civilised. So I'd like to continue that way, if I may. So, if I'd like permitted to get on with the meeting, please.
Can I just request that lady's suggestion regarding the distance?
Yes, I've taken that on board.
If you can agree to that, and I'll make some suggestions for you should contact.
Good stuff.
I'll take that on board, okay.
If they say that, yes, the access is worse now for those user groups, that we can resolve the issue.
You're asking for their response, aren't you?
I'm asking for, if they
So you are
respond...
going to come to me, tell me what response you want from who, is that right?
No, the user groups.
The user groups,
I'll just like the lady suggested.
Yes, so we're talking about user groups that you're going to discuss with me and you're going to ask for their opinion.
I'll do their research to find out if there's some disability.
Your details at the end, so I can forward some.
So we've made a note of that.
I can't wait to move.
Okay.
I'm sure they can't.
Resolve
What if you live next to... What if you might live next to Captain Birdseye?
Well, let's answer that one then. So we'll do that, Mr. Langston. Right.
Have the details been removed from the
front garage area, which is to do with the garage area, which is breaking up concrete and whatever, and of course, as we know, nobody wants to really take responsibility. So we've got an email from Andrew Griffiths, the local MP, which is to say that he's, where is it?